are back.
Back.
Episode 12. After a great week of resting, great week of just focus on our stuff, focus on yourself, and basically recapping of the on the past 11 episodes. And guys, we are back.
We back.
Simple as that.
We back. We
All
back.
8
All back.
as banner.
Osis Bunner. I'm Adrian Pavata alongside me, co-host Angelo Pitt Rousseau.
Here we go.
Look, we would just like to thank our previous guests on the 11 episodes. We really appreciate your love and support. And obviously, we would like to thank our viewers for constantly supporting us through our journey, liking, sharing, subscribing. And also, just wait. Those that did not yet subscribe, click that subscribe button before you start to watch, please.
Definitely, and if you didn't follow yet, you can follow us now. All 8 got your back. We are here.
Listen, also, just to remind you guys, we have a TikTok, we have our Instagram, as well
Facebook.
as our Facebook page. So please don't forget to follow us. And please, if you did not watch episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, episode 4,
Always
till
cover you.
11, go back. Watch
YouTube.
it.
YouTube is available.
Right. So tonight we're gonna speak about some controversial topics. I know that might not be what some people want to hear, but I think we need to pose certain questions
Definitely.
and ask questions about it because it is a concern for me personally within the space that we are currently playing. So we're gonna go at speaking about is club rugby or club rugby players a feeding scheme for bigger unions? And do we think that unions and SARU need to buy into amateur rugby more? I mean, if we look at post-COVID, I mean, 3, 4 years, 5 years post-COVID, we had amateur structures going, and we would like to pose that question, and we're gonna touch base on that. We're also gonna speak about Challenge Cup, your Heineken Cup, your Super Rugby, SA Cup, as well as our Club
Club
Rugby.
Rugby, Super League A, Super League B, Super League C. Talk about it. And if you think you have an opinion about this topic, feel free to comment and we will get back to you. And if you want a certain player or coach on the set with this question, mention his name. Feel free. All 8 got you. We got your back. Here we go.
And this is obviously one of the topics that I don't think a lot of people want to speak about, but I think we should speak about it. Firstly, the question I'll pose to you, and we're gonna speak about it, and viewers, you guys can comment on it as well.
Yes.
Do you think that club rugby players are being, or let's say, are they feeders to the bigger unions?
In
Because
South Africa now.
In South Africa. And look, we have our smaller unions within and around, like your Falke, your
Boland, your Leopards.
Boland, your Leopards. Look, Boland is becoming
But
a
I
bit,
think you're
bit
talking
bigger,
about
but I'm
the
talking about like
Sharks,
the big unions,
Bulls,
Sharks, Bulls,
Cheetahs,
Western
Lions.
Province, Lions, you know.
Okay.
Big unions. Do we think that club rugby players are given a fair opportunity within and around those bigger unions?
I think personally for me, to start with to answer your question, or let me say my opinion on this question is personally, club rugby players sacrifice a lot of effort in a week, in 1 week.
Yeah.
Some clubs practice 3 nights a week,
Yeah.
some 2.
And then Saturday they play as well.
Exactly. So for me personally, I think no,
No.
because there's too many young talent out there in club rugby systems, and I think some of them need a fair chance. And some unions is just going for the for the players who was in a
In the
grade
system.
school
It
or in a
was in the
system
system, and
or came through the age groups.
that's one thing I wanted to touch on, and I think it's important that um, that unions need to look at club rugby players per se, because a lot of them are not privileged enough to go
Yes,
to a bigger school
100%.
to per se get bursaries, because some of them only start playing at age 19. I mean, somebody that plays with us, Bam, only started at age 19. I mean, he's a brilliant rugby player. So there's certain players that start at a younger age, and they just it just clicks with him. Rugby just it's just in them, and then you get players that obviously started at a
At the age
young
of
at
13 years old.
13, 7 years old, but obviously due to circumstances and due to their parents not being able to afford certain things or certain schools, they obviously go to a community school and then they go play club rugby within the communities. Yes, some players do get seen at other schools, and then obviously they go to a bigger school, but not everybody is privileged enough
100%.
to get those opportunities, and that's where the club rugby comes into play. Um, my personal opinion on buying players from other unions, I think personally, and this is within the Western Province, I think personally that we don't need to buy players from other unions because
Because
we
he has
have
too
so
much.
much talent.
Yes,
We have
enough.
about what 90 clubs within Western
Yes,
Province.
enough.
Schools, we have. I mean, we have so many talent within the school systems as well, and we can go on and on about it. And I think that not Western Province alone, bigger unions like your Blue Bulls, like your Sharks, because yes, you're gonna have 1 out of 10
Then
players out of club rugby
we'll
getting
make it.
those opportunities, but it's 1 out of 10.
I to come in there, Adrian. For me personally, why? On your question, why does players who is in a system when the contract is busy ending for a certain union, then they don't have other place to go. Why is people going or players who left a union come to club rugby? Say for instance the Super League A. At least in the Super League A personally, for me, in each club, there's a player that came from a union.
100%. But you see, that's where the club rugby is becoming a bit advanced in terms of finances,
But
getting the proper sponsors that a lot of clubs wouldn't have gotten 10 years ago.
yeah, but for me, Saru should put the hand in. Zet jou vinger in die paai. Want as die players nou Super League uit toe kom, waar laat dit die player wat nie die ability het om by 'n union in te kom nie. So what I'm trying to say is, so if a player comes from a bigger union to club rugby fraternity, so you have to drop the player who's there by the club for years.
But that is based on the coach that's there and his belief within that player. So sometimes, and you're gonna get players that's coming from unions like Falke and stuff that's gonna come now down to Western Cape because our club rugby is obviously one of the best.
Yes.
Yes, we have obviously our big Gold Cup that we play, but it's not as big as what it was. I mean, we saw the likes of Grant or Garth April
Yes.
coming through, his brother coming through the ranks as well and getting contracts. I mean, Garth went on to go play at the Sharks and went on to go play in Japan. I mean,
Good. And
that's
now he's back
obviously
at the
he's
Cavaliers.
back at the Cavaliers and giving back to where he comes from, and I think that is something that the SARU needs to look at, because I think the
100%.
amateur rugby is not anymore that big. If you look back when, I mean, Durban won it, Falls Bay won it, it was much bigger. It was more televised. Nowadays, it's just on YouTube, and I think that yes, obviously YouTube is becoming a big thing
big
in
thing,
terms
yeah.
of people viewing it. But I mean, imagine it's on DSTV, um, where it always used to be
More exposure.
more exposure because people watch on a rugby channel on average probably 80% of the time instead of watching movie channels, for example, because on a Saturday it's either they watch rugby or they watch soccer.
Soccer, 100%. But for me, in club rugby, your Super League A, your Super League B, your Super League C, sometimes I think we need to touch on the, the mental shift that players need to make whenever they got kicked out of a system or it isn't that they're not just good enough or anything like that, but for me personally, if you get kicked out by a system or you're not in a union anymore, now you need to come settle with club rugby.
Yeah.
I think before you before you enter the club rugby system, make sure you are mentally in the right place, right? Because now you get there, you're mentally weak because of what happened to you. You're disappointed in yourself. You doubt yourself. You understand? Now you need to work on your mental health,
Mental health, yeah.
because your mental thing can influence others.
Yeah, it can.
You understand?
And
Because
it's
you're unhappy
difficult.
with yourself and now you're questioning yourself because you're not good enough. That isn't the case.
It's difficult, and you experience it within club rugby a lot, where
Yeah,
guys
every
come
day.
down from unions that guys that got major injuries, and obviously unions don't want to keep you. If you're injury prone, coming down to club rugby, playing club rugby, and then it's like you feel like you are not good enough, and that's when mentally you need to obviously be strong. And I think that some of us as men, we are so stubborn in terms of not wanting to get help if we need help.
Yeah.
We fight battles, and I think that's where a lot of, let's say, mentors need to step in.
Yes. So I'll
And
say a cop
coaches, if
doctor.
coaches see it, it's important that you need to guide that specific player, because at the end of the day we don't want people to struggle with mental health for longevity of time. We want people to be at the right space, in the right space, and do what they love the way they always do.
Do 100%.
So club rugby coaches, unions for that matter, please, we need to look at that, because a lot of people lose the plot and struggle mentally with mental health, and I think that's something that a lot of people are looking past, and we need to raise that point
That point.
and highlight it. That's where a lot of psychology comes in as a coach, because some coaches just think they coach and that's it.
That's it.
But psychology plays a big role within coaching and in rugby as well.
So yeah, Eddie. That's my opinion on that basically. So yeah, I think Saru and the unions should choose more from club rugby. And to answer you, no. Club rugby do not feed unions.
Oh, I'll say, I'll pose it like this: club rugby um,
It's not a feeding scheme.
is not really
A
the
feeding
feeding
scheme.
scheme, because if we look at the amount of players that get bought out of our country and from different unions, we're not building our union as we should, or as it used to be back in the day.
Let's use the example of a current situation like Jaden Barrow and Devant. Great player, former Sevens player, must now go to Russia. While we have the Sharks here, the Blue Bulls, the Lions, Cheetahs, Poland Cavaliers, his previous union. Why not? Why must this guy go showcase his talent in Russia? I know there's opportunity, but come on, man. I think he's good enough to play at any union. He was a Blitzbok. He represented our country. So
I think for the viewers out there, if you have an opinion on it, please post it, comment in the comment sections. If you have questions that you want to raise, please feel
Feel
free
free.
to touch base with us on Instagram as well as on Facebook
Facebook and TikTok if you
and
want to.
TikTok. And TikTok, please
Here we
go. Okay, Championship Cup results. Edinburgh beating the Lions 24-12. Bayonne going down to the Blue Bulls 22-32. Montpellier losing out to Gloucester 17-24. Connacht 35, 20
Cardiff.
to the Cardiff. Perpignan 18, 24, Racing 92. Sharks going down to Leon 34, 21. And Ospreys beating the Scarlets 36-14. Obviously, Lions not doing too great against Edinburgh,
Die opgedaaging.
24-12.
Die opgedaaging.
Tough day at the office. Obviously, away from home, Lions are not very good. But hopefully,
But the games remain the same.
yeah, I hope
Home or away.
I hope they learn from that game, because I think they are actually a great team, and I think they building towards big things for the Union.
100%.
Blue Bulls beating Bayonne 32-22. Obviously, Blue Bulls depth is on another level.
100% and they can play rugby.
They can definitely play rugby,
can
and
play rugby.
they know how to win win
Away.
away from home. And obviously the Sharks going down to Lyon in France 34-21. Sharks up and down
Up and
season.
down.
I think they can do better.
And the thing is, they have a lot of great players.
They
Springboks.
similar to the Blue Bulls. It's just it's not working for them. I don't know. Maybe
What
they
do you
need
think
to
it's
change a bit of
It's a
structure. there.
mindset thing, or is it a coach thing, or is it a management thing?
It's a money thing.
It's the money thing.
Yeah, too much money. I think they're not coping too well, because they're buying everybody. I mean, I think they just signed Edel van der Merwe as well. So
Jay,
I mean,
that's a big signing.
could create problems. But yeah, nonetheless, Ange, Heineken Cup.
Heineken Cup with a lot of results. Northampton 46 and Claremont 24. I think, for me personally, Claremont must make a big step up.
I think they have an up and down season, and I think they are a good team with good players. You can say they restructuring the Union over there, and hopefully it's gonna go better next season.
Yeah, and then Toulon and Saracens. Toulon 72, Saracens 42. For me personally, in this game, if you see the score difference, this is not big for me personally.
Yeah, but I mean,
Because-
you're 72 points against one team. It's a lot of points.
Yeah, but
It shows that
to score 42 points against them as well.
it shows discipline on defense.
Yeah.
It's I mean, 72 points is a lot. Then obviously, if you look at Leinster 62
en Harlequins.
0 to
Ek
the
het
Harlequins.
nog uitbrei oor dit, want vir my personally is die net Harlequins, ek glad nie opgedaag nie.
Ja,
No one at home. Die ligte is aan, maar niemand is aan.
Nee, is load shedding.
Is load shedding.
Load shedding, ja.
So
Is
ek
load
weet
shedding.
nie. Dan kyk ons na La Rochelle in Monster.
Ja.
For me personally, tight. Nail buite. En ek dink La Rochelle kon hom gevat het.
Yeah, it was. Look, a game like that can go either way. It's
Yeah.
basically the bounce of the ball and discipline that's gonna set the game for you.
100%. Dan kyk ons na die game van Toulouse en Sale Sharks. 38 vir Toulouse, 15 vir die Sale Sharks.
Look, it was tight. I must say, it was tight in that first half, and then second half, Toulouse just went with it. I think they were obviously the better team, and they managed.
100%.
Their game management was better than the Cell Sharks. Then obviously Super Rugby, Chiefs beating the Reds 27-15. Moana Pacifica putting up another great victory over the Waratahs. I
Waratahs.
mean, beating the Crusaders last week.
I think personally for me, the Waratahs was in the game. They was in the game definitely, but I think Moana just choked them.
I think
and take
Moana
it.
is the dark forces of this competition.
Definitely.
I think they can potentially go all the way to the final.
Yeah, but
My personal opinion, I think they have it. I think they have the right balance within the team and within the squad structure. So
Fiji Drua and Crusaders, I think that I expected a bigger score, like a 50 plus something.
you see the thing is, if you're gonna go to Fiji, it's tough there.
Yeah,
So
but you must remember it's the Crusaders.
yeah, but in any team going to Fiji, it's always gonna be a tough one. Obviously, Blues, um, nail biter 19-18 against Hurricanes. I mean, Hurricanes up and down
I
season.
think for the Hurricanes there was a lot of over eager moments and a bit of
Potential
selfish.
to win the game. Potential to win
Yes,
the game.
100%.
But Blues managing the game much better, and end of the day, you must just win.
Definitely.
The main thing is
For me
the
personally,
main thing is winning.
this game is the highlight of the week. I've been backing the Western Force, and for me, I think the Western Force is gonna bring great upset in this competition. I want them to beat the Crusaders. Huh?
I don't think that's gonna happen. Honest opinion, don't think that's gonna happen. But all in all, Super Rugby's results is looking much better. There's no more big scores, which is
Competition is
perfect,
getting tighter and tighter.
Australia is buying into it much more. Their teams are doing also well. So then we have the SA Cup. Ailing Pumas beating the Border Bulldogs. I think we cursed them.
Yeah, but before we carry on, what is the point difference for Ailing Pumas to the other teams, bro? Because their totals is always above 50.
Yeah, 110-7 against the Border Bulldogs. So it was Bayer. That's cricket. 110 for 7.
6 overs a side.
Yes, brother. Bangela, SVD,
Valke.
18, Falke, 24. Falke, good win away from home.
Home. But as jy maklik
It's tough.
as
It's
jy
tough.
maklik in SVD nie
It's
meneer.
tough at Outeniqua Park.
Dis regtig maklik visie so. Kyk ons na die Toyota Cheetahs en die Griffins.
The Toyota Cheetahs,
As-
Francois Steyn put a statement out there. If they have to lose against the Griffins, the doors of the union is probably going to close.
Closed.
Yeah, kudos to Cheetahs. Obviously, a big union, and people don't actually wouldn't like them to play in the first division Currie Cup.
Yeah.
So I'm happy. I'm
Then
happy for them.
Suzuki.
38-31. Then
Tight score.
yeah.
Then the Suzuki Griquas and the Sundowner Bowling Cavaliers in Kimberley. I think
There was a nail biter.
it was a
because they
nail
said
biter, but
the Greek was scored, I think, in the last 10 minutes, I think, to win the game.
yeah, and one of the Boland ex-players, Kevin and Hufke. We talk about speed here, eh?
Yes.
Kevin and Hufke all the way from Sierra's Bella Vista. Bella Vista boykie.
He's really taking his opportunity.
Yeah,
up there,
definitely.
and
Look, yeah, it's also a guy who came through the ranks, understand? And as he took his opportunities, once he get a ball, he make it work. And he finished. That guy finished. Cameron Rufke, heads up. Alongside him, Dylan Mart, Gershwin Ware, boys from the Boland. And I think, as I said in the previous
I mean,
episodes again,
Dylan actually came to come play like a prover wedstrijd there at Unimall also. So
yes. But for me personally, I'm going to say it again. I compare these three guys, with Teslan Colby, your Curly Arends, because these are guys who can finish. Give them the ball and they can make magic. Look at Cameron Hufke, man. A solo. They pass the ball to him. Gone. Cameron
punte
Hufke.
nie win.
Hier uit die Bella wedstrijd tot binne die rooi kamp.
And
Cameron
then-
Hufke, heads up, my boy.
And Eastern Province, Alistair obviously getting a win over the Leopards. Leopards is obviously not doing too well alongside
Yeah,
the
for a team who was
Border
2 years
Bulldogs. And
one of the
obviously a
fear
team that
teams.
has a feeding scheme of the University of the North. Also, I mean, it's not
I'm, I-
good. But
I'm not sure what's
obviously,
going on there.
I understand their players are playing Varsity Cup, so obviously
I
it's
don't think it's an excuse.
that's the feeding scheme, unfortunately.
100%.
Um, then obviously the big thing
So club rugby is back.
with a bang.
So the league started the past weekend and a lot of upset.
Alto Tower, Kills River beating Helderberg 31-27. St. George's going down to Hamilton's 15,
1558.
15-58. And obviously Travis
Brackenfell.
Ismail, former Springbok, making his debut in the Super League A with Hamilton's. Brackenfell going down to Durbanville 12-47. And Villagers beating Tigerberg in the Hawk
And New York.
42-31. But Tigerberg coming back strongly in the second half. They were down 28-0 at the stage. And coming close, I think the score was, I think it was 34, 35, 31 at the stage.
Strong villages, ne?
Strong Villagers team, obviously set piece orientated.
Definitely. Machina.
Machine.
Ben Venter Boer. Dan Super League B. So Bella versus Franzoek. Bella got it 1 for 30. Bella 30, Franzoek 29. And nail biter. Well done, Bella. Hamlet versus Belleville. Belleville went to Ameri.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Tough.
didn't make it. Tough call.
Tough.
And Guru and Hens and Hearts. Oh, what's going on here by Hens and Hearts with 8 points on the
They
board?
lost a lot of players. A lot of
Guru
players as well.
34.
Well done to Guru.
Super League C. Eerste River versus Strand.
26-24. Yesterday we're getting the victory there.
Definitely.
Neighbors.
Young People's 37 and Atlantis 17.
Tough for Atlantis. Obviously going to Paul to go and play against young people. Tough
And
there.
then Langa versus PNL Villages. Langa 10, PNL Villages 15. Scottsdene 24.
Delft.
And Delft United 28. Well done, Mr. Bantam.
So fixtures. First up, Super Rugby fixtures. Hurricanes versus Crusaders.
Crusaders.
Waratahs versus the Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Blues versus the Mana Pacifica. Same here. Highlanders versus Fiji Drua. Go Highlanders. Reds versus Brumbies. Reds. Then obviously we have our SA Cup. Suzuki Griquas versus Eastern Province. Griquas. Border Bulldogs versus Boland Cavaliers. Cheetahs versus SVD. Cheetahs. Falco versus Griffins. Leopards versus A-Link Pumas. And then we have Heineken Cup quarterfinals. Leinster versus Glasgow Warriors. Leinster. Border Beglers versus Munster. Then we have Northampton versus Castro. I'll go Northampton. Toulon versus Toulouse Derby. I'll go Toulon as well. Then we have Challenge Cup fixtures. Edinburgh versus Blue Bulls. I'll go Blue Bulls. Ospreys versus Lyon. I'll go Lyon. Connacht versus Racing 92. And Bath versus Gloucester. I'll go Bath as well. And then Club Rugby fixtures we'll post on our social media. You can catch all the Club Rugby fixtures on there. And then we'd like to thank our sponsors, FLM Attorneys, for always being behind us, and SSA Custom Designs for our water. We really and truly appreciate it. And then obviously we'd like to thank you guys in advance for your support. We truly appreciate it. And then we would just like to ask you guys to do 3 things for us: like, share, subscribe, do your thing.
Here we go. Like, share,
Subscribe.